Folks, as you know, social media censorship is growing. The best way to support our video work for Israel is to subscribe to our video newsletter on pulseofisrael.com and to share our videos. If you are already a subscriber, then thank you. Shalom, shalom everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland, the land of Israel. Today we are in for a huge, huge treat. Not only do we have the opportunity to speak with and listen to an amazing Jewish music superstar, Rabbi Shlommo Katz, but also Reb Nissim Black. Two of them have joined forces for a recent music video song, and we're about to hear all about it. Be inspired. You're talking about two people who themselves as individuals are inspiring, and so many people are inspired by them, and hear them coming together. It's a double case of inspiration. So let's bring them on right now. Shalom, shalom, Reb Nissim. Shalom, Reb Shlomo. How are both of you?
Amazing. Shalom, shalom aleichem.
Boker tov, achi.
It is wonderful, wonderful having both of you together. And listen, each of you have your own personal stories, but let's focus on this music video that you just put together. What made you come together? You each have your own different styles. Shlomo, the soulful, Nissim, the Jewish rap with your background of rap, and yet you came together for this special project. Why? What brought you together?
What brought us together? I'm sure I can only speak on my behalf that you never ever know where the Ribono Shel Olam is going to lead you to. Like, you never know what you're gonna end up doing in this world. You just got to make the most of every minute. And the second that we laid down this song, and there was such a deep yearning for davening, for prayer, for screaming, for unleashing an inner beast, I sensed that moment there would be such a zchut to connect with my brother Nissim, who I know has an inner beast, full on. That it's kind of like, sometimes the other Nissim pops out, but usually it's the mode of beast mode. And it was just an eight ratzon. Gates were open. I think I contacted Nissim. It was like a very natural, organic process, and it's just it added up. It added up. That's like just what I have to say about him.
Right. Yeah, and I think for me also too, getting that message from Rabbi Shlomos was a big honor for me. As I mentioned to him recently, I guess I just now revealed to him. I've said in other interviews, but he was one of the first Jewish music that I ever listened to.
Wow.
And so it was very, very, very much so an honor for me to be a part of it. I mean, and then the concept is like, this is my life, This is how I came to Yiddishkeit. I was out like a beast in the fields, crying to Hashem and screaming out. And what he says is really real. I feel like this is like, as I mentioned last time we talked, I had to switch to a day shift, but, years I spent out in the nights, forest, crying to Hashem, so this was almost like, a reminder from Hashem to get back out there, so it was a really good, it was a good match. It was a match made in heaven, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, you touch upon a very interesting point, and we'll get into the song, but it's a calling out for Hashem, for everyone to be better people and searching for God, and you have your own personal story of searching for God. So you want to go deeper in terms of how this song personally touched you?
I mean, I guess so. Really, I mean, on many different levels with the actual wording in itself, because my whole journey to Judaism was all about tefillah and prayer. I didn't have anything else, right? In addition to that, reading Tanakh, learning Navi very heavily, trying to figure out if what I was taught previous, to my own awakening was true or not. I found myself in a very dark place, and I literally start just crying out to God. And I spent my days like that, day and night, until I came to such a place of, I would say, probably the Vegas, where I just was thinking about Hashem day and night, and I couldn't go to sleep without thinking about him. And I was just trying to figure out, you know, all the pratim, like of if what I believe is true or not. So eventually, the time is a long, very long story, but between going on Chabad.org and different things like that, and really trying to investigate Judaism and the origins of Christianity, where I was coming from at the time, it just, the pathway became very, very clear to me. And I would say initially when I started, my conversion, and at the beginning of it, um, it was still a lot of things that kind of like fizzled out a little bit. You go into a community and you're like on fire for something. Everybody else is just like chilling out, hanging out, not taking everything so seriously. And you're this person who's just like, no, look at this. And it wasn't until I was mamash blessed through Rabbi Rosh's initially, but to get to the teachings of Rabbi Nachman. And that was sort of like a full circle. And the reason why his words probably had the biggest impact is because his whole inyan is tefillah. And that's how I got to Judaism. So it wasn't like I found my home really until I got to Rabbi Nachman. So when he initially says this to his students, that I wanted you to be like a beast in the fields, and then, I remember going out. The first 5-10 minutes, you're scared. You hear stuff in the bushes. You don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? It takes you a little bit to get comfortable, but after a while, you get comfortable. And I feel like that is also very telling of what my journey with Judaism has been. Also, too, took me a little bit to get comfortable, and when I found Rabbi Nachman's words, I got very comfortable.
Wow. I can just talk personally. I'm what's called an FFB, right? From birth, right? Religious from birth. And I'm jealous of you. I don't search out and scream out and look out for God as much as I should, like most FFBs. Yeah. And one of the beautiful things about Rabbi Shlomo, our own Shlomo Katz, is that he has this ability to reach even us from FFBs, those of us with the cynicism, being born into this lifestyle with the commandments, with having to be connected to God, even though not understanding it and not searching for it. And he generates so much enthusiasm and excitement within so many who are born with it and not appreciating it, to then search and appreciate it. So with that introduction, Shlomo, can you give us more about the specialness of this song to you, and why you made it?
First of all, I want to say, when I was young, not that I'm an alpaca, not that I'm so old now, but when I was younger, so I used to eat Wheaties because it was a whole thing of like, you want to be like Mike, like Michael Jordan, right? So I want to be like I want to be like Nissim. On this area, I want us all to understand something really, really fundamental. The days of thinking that I fulfill my obligation as a servant of God only by reciting what's in the Siddur, those days are done. Now I want to just clarify something very important. It's not that the Siddur is more relevant than ever. But the Siddur is the gateway for you to find your inner cry. And Avi, I relate so much to what you were saying, because how could they have taught us growing up in Orthodox circles that you have to go out and howl like a beast all night long? They couldn't have. It's very hard to even right now to understand it. How do we understand it for ourselves? It's very confusing. But it's a journey of the authentic soul searcher that realizes that at a certain point, with everything that my rabbis and my sages and even my parents have put on the table for me, at a certain point, it's almost like God is saying, now I'm going to hide myself like crazy, because how else am I going to get you to go out and cry your eyes out, thinking that you're trying to find me? It's you. The only way you're going to find you is if you hear your inner cry. your inner scream. And that's something that we haven't really tapped into yet in the so-called Orthodox circles. Definitely not enough. Remember, Reb Nachman has only been really accessible in the way that he is today, like he is today, the last 30, 40, maybe 50 years. Maybe. It was a secret. They used to call them the Toiter Hasidim, the dead Hasidim, those that, they used to be a Hasidus with a few followers. But it's not about the details of, do you go to Uman or not for Rosh Hashanah? Do you wear the type of yarmulke like they wear or not? All those things are, they're on the side, at the pulse of what's going on right now. Could you afford to continue thinking that we can keep this beautiful tradition, Yiddishkeit today, Judaism today, without unleashing the beast? Without, I don't even know what to call it, something deep down inside. So therefore, when I came across this melody, I had to play in an event about, 10 years ago, something like that. And someone asked me to learn this song. And I listened to it, and I was like, how could it be that someone else knew how to basically spell out what my soul is actually longing for? Like, how does that happen? I feel like a lot with Rabbi Shlomos stuff. Like, how could it be that he knew how to spell out the crying of my soul in David HaMelech's words, King David's words, and his melody? And it was almost like an instant impact of like, wow, this is it. This is it. I don't want to just be checklist Judaism, kosher. You could put an OU on me. I want to be like, oh, you, right? That kind of OU, not just a OU, but oh, you, go to the U. And the only way that I have found any place of this playing a real function is by really pushing myself, even in the beginning. If it's not flowing, if the words aren't flowing smooth in the forest or wherever I am. Rav Lezer Brody used to always say, today with you could pretend you're on a cell phone in the middle of like 500 people and really have the deepest hisbodedus in the world. No one knows that you're not talking to anyone physical. So when you allow yourself to go to that place and start with 5 minutes and 10 minutes, maybe even you'll get to 15 minutes, and eventually an hour seems like a second, you can't fathom any other way of experiencing being in a relationship with Hashem, with God, with yourself, with your loved ones, with anybody. And that's what this song is all about.
Well, listen, I want to ask one question for both of you to expand upon, and then we'll go and play the music video for people to watch and internalize and enjoy themselves. But you touched upon something, Reb Shlomo, and it's actually a motif that I speak about a lot. God doesn't need us. We need God for ourselves, to find ourselves, to make us better people. How can you further, and I'm putting this out to both of you, and so each of you take your turns, but how can you further expand upon that for people to understand? It's like our searching for God is not because God needs us and that He's searching for us. No. We need it. It's for us to be more whole people and be able to be better us. It's not that He doesn't need it. God doesn't need me to pray to Him. He doesn't care whether I pray or not. The prayer is me connecting to God to help me be a better person via that relationship. So how can you both expand upon that?
I'm only gonna dare open my mouth after I hear Nissim right
now. So I would say like this. I would say, first off, we learn about Moshe Rabbeinu that he was a ish anaf. He was the most humble person to ever walk the face of the earth. And I think it was this past parsha we seen that even though Moshe Rabbeinu was a gazillion % in the right, he still sent for Datan v'Aviram to come to him and to so to speak lower himself in order to make peace. He wanted to make shalom, right? Where does Moshe Rabbeinu learn all this? There's no other place for Hashem for him to learn of them from Hashem. He spent 60 years in the desert with Hashem. He worked on himself. He got to know who Hashem was, and he spent, and if 60 years in the desert wasn't enough, then a couple trips up on a mountain for 40 days in a ball of fire. If you don't know Hashem after that, something's wrong. So one of the most beautiful things that I feel like I discovered, but which I'm sure is in this form of Kadoshim, is that Moshe Rabbeinu learned out his anivus from Hashem. He learned out his anivus from Hashem. And we understand that Tomer Devoah also tells us that while the person is committing the chait, Hashem is constantly giving the person chiyas. It's like being at a bar and giving your son who's rebelled against you another 20 to drink his life away with all your money. He already spent everything, and you're constantly giving to him at the same time that he's doing it, right? That Hashem is lowering himself, so to speak, because he desires to hear from us that much. He desires that connection and that relationship with us so much that he goes out of his way, like a beloved father, to chase after us as if he needs us. And on some level, Hashem does, we look at it a certain way that Hashem does lead us, right? If a person, I was just reading right now in the Sefer Bayam Dakaka, which is a beautiful, beautiful Sefer, talks about how in the aspect of Bittul, when a person becomes completely nullified to Hashem, right? That person becomes a kli and an ore for Hashem's light to be able to, but just as much as that kli has no light within it of itself, right? A ram call it, the speaker has no, it's not the speaker talking on itself. A person is speaking into the speaker and it's coming out, right? But the speaker itself has no audio of its own. Somebody has to give it the audio, right? But the person that needs to give over the audio needs the speaker in order to do that. So Hashem also needs us. He partners with us, right? So there is somewhat of a desire, and I think an importance for a person to understand the chashivus, to understand that sometimes Hashem does need. If I don't go, then who's gonna go, right? I say that all the time to Hashem. I remember I was sitting in the hospital with cellulitis. I never caught it before I came to Israel. First time I caught it, I had it like 5 times already. They say it's a rebbesh disease, catching your leg. So I was sitting in the hospital, and I told Hashem I have tinnitus. I said, Hashem, if I'm not at the kotel at midnight screaming out to you right now, then who's going to do it? Who's going to do it if I'm not there doing it? Hashem, you got to heal me, because if not, you need me. You need these tefillas. You understand? You need these tefillas. And I told Hashem just like that. It's a relationship. So I think the biggest part of it is realizing that through desiring that relationship, through a person connecting and building that desire for the relationship, to understand that Hashem also desires that relationship just as much. And on another level, like you said, He doesn't need us, but by virtue of us spending that much time with Hashem, it automatically changes a person. You can't be the same anymore once you're around Hashem. No more than you can be around a friend who's whether positive or negative. You hang around a person, either the bad midos or the good midos are going to rub off on you. So spending that much time with Hashem, like you said, for sure is going to change a person, and he needs it to be able to search after. Rabbi Nachman says we all have Avedas, lost things that we have here in that are generally by the tzaddikim, more the tzaddikim by Hashem. So you have to go to Hashem in order to find every single piece of chelak of your neshama, every piece of you that needs to finish being built. So that's my answer. Hopefully it wasn't too much.
Beautiful, it's beautiful. Shlomo.
Just to echo this energy that it's the greatest matnas chinam. It's the greatest unearned gift that Hashem Yitbarach, God Almighty, He hides Himself behind this need that He says to us. I need you. It's like, when you don't really need someone to do something for you, but you want to empower them, you want to make them feel special. And in the beginning, they don't realize that you don't really need, right? So they only find out later that you just did that to make them feel special and wanted. And then you realize that's the greatest gift in the world, to make someone feel useful. So God turns to all the creations before He created man, and He uses the weirdest word to me, it's one of the most bizarre words in the whole Torah. He turns to the creations that he created until that day, and he says, Na'aseh Adam, let us make man. God needs the creations from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in order to help him make man. But to me, that I never saw this anywhere, and I'm sure it's written somewhere. I'm not claiming this is my chiddush. I'm sure this is I'm sure it's brought down everywhere. I just haven't seen it yet. Is that at that moment before God created man, he's setting the precedent for like the roots of the creation of man. To make someone else feel needed and feel important is the most godly thing in the world that you could do, because that's what God does. So God, Kiviyachol, makes us think and feel that he needs us to be the best version of us out of his infinite humility and kindness to us. But in the core of it all, you're right. God doesn't need us. But what could I do in that kind of a world? There's nothing for me to do in that kind of a world. I got to be godly. So my thing is always trying to go back to that word, na'aseh. Let us make man. Let us, na'aseh Adam b'tzalmeinu kidmuteinu. Because I can only speak from personal experience. When someone's pulled that on me, oh, Shlomo, I need you to go and do it. They don't need me. They don't, right? But when they've done that to me, and I realize, wow, that's the greatest gift you could give me, to make me feel like you need me. And come on, so that's godliness.
Beautiful. You know what? On that note, let's get the video up so everyone can enjoy, and then we'll continue hearing your thoughts afterwards. Here we go.
כחיות הנועמות ביער, לילות שלמים. נכון אתם אנשים כשרים, אך לא לזאת הייתה כוונתי. נכון אתם אנשים כשרים, אך לא לזאת הייתה כוונתי. רציתי שתהיו כחיות הנועמות ביער, לילות שלמים. רציתי שתהיו כחיות הנועמות ביער. אנשים כשרים, אך לא לזאת הייתה כוונתי. נכון אתם אנשים כשרים, אך לא לזאת הייתה כוונתי. רציתי שתהיו כחיות הנועמות ביער, לילות שלמים. רציתי שתהיו כחיות הנועמות ביער, לילות שלמים.
When I ain't breathing, yeah, you give me serious, yeah. Hard to believe it, yeah, but it ain't a secret, yeah. I wanna drink from your fountain of wisdom and joy. Holy Tzaddikim, you give freely, really you are my choice. Unrelated is the wonder of your greatness. Made it your business to pull me from the pavement. I understated, who can say it? Any mention of your praises like your insult from the praiser. I ain't paid to say this, I use my God-givens to give the God's given. I give my heart in it, he light a spark in it. It's always hard beginnings, but it defines the winning. If you merit to reach the ending, only he can finish.
רציתי שתהיו כחיות הנועמות ביער, לילות שלמים. רציתי שתהיו כחיות הנועמות ביער.
Wow, beautiful.
Amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, can you both of you give people an understanding again? What exactly are the words? Why in the forest? What are the visuals you're trying to give across with this music video? What's the message you want people to be coming out with?
I'll just share the words. The words are very important. One time late at night, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov was in the middle of teaching, and he turned to his students and said, "It's true, you're all righteous." So kosher means over here. It's not just referring to their level of keeping kosher. So you're all righteous. But that's not why I'm your Rebbe, to make sure you're all checklist Judaism. I wanted you to be like howling beasts that are screaming out in the forest all night long. That's what I wanted you to understand, that from all the Torah you learn, the only way to take the tree of knowledge, the information, and get it into the tree of life, into the heart, is by screaming over it, by crying over it. So that's what those words mean. Rabbi Nachman says, "Nachon atem anashim kshirim, ach lo lezot et kavanati, ratziti shetihyu kechayot hanohamot bayar leilot shlemim." So it's really just an attempt, a strong attempt for, personally speaking. I'll share one more important thing, and then I want to hear what Nissim has to say. I found myself in a really weird place last night and this morning. I've had the privilege of putting out albums for over 20 years. It's crazy, like over 20 years already. I don't think that I ever davened, and this is such a weird thing. I don't think I ever prayed over a song when it came out like I am right now. And this is a cover. I didn't even write this melody. I didn't even write these words. So I was asking myself, why am I davening over this song? Like, what is it touching? And I think it's because, look, Avi, you know this view. We got Mama Rachel right behind us here. Beit Lechem, where King David was born. Yerushalayim Mir HaKodesh right behind it. What's left? What other agendas? What other missions? What's left to do, right? Well, this world is insane. But it's exactly the way Hashem wants it to be. For right now. For a second ago. But for right now, I feel like there's nothing else I would desire more than for me to become a professional howler. I know that sounds pretty weird, but you know what I mean? There's nothing more that I want. There's nothing more that I want, that I would want of the world, for my children, for my chaver that I daven with, that I learn with. And it's connecting to just my rutzon of rutzons right now. And I think that's why I've never davened over something. They say, like, in today's market, like, things go based on views and all these things. It's like, yeah, I want hundreds and hundreds of millions of views that become internalized. Like, even if 20 people out of 300 million people that are, of course, listening to us right now. If 20 people decide to go and cry to Hashem, I'm the luckiest guy. I'm already the luckiest guy in the world. I get to be with you guys, but I'm even the most blessed person in the world. That's really what I feel.
Yeah, so I would second that also too, and say that it's, let me say, when the Midrash says that when Rivka was walking past the Batei Avodah Zarah, when she would go past the place of idol worship, then she'll feel the kicking of Esav, right? When she walked past the base of Midrash, she'll feel Yaakov Avinu kicking inside, right? So things were happening very early inside of us. All of us is a neshama, and the neshama, sometimes we hear certain things in Inyanim and Avodas Hashem, certain things in terms of our service to God, that when you hear it, it starts kicking inside. From the moment that I was made aware of the very much so, like Rabbi Nassim, who was the student of Rabbi Nachman, who had sort of went at it alone, and finally came to a place where the only time he could cry out to Hashem was in the nights, and then when he went to go talk to Rabbi Nachman, he says that this is the way to do it. He's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe that this is, I was on to something the whole entire time. So, for me personally, hearing this teaching, really, my neshama start kicking inside, and a person doesn't understand. Now, any time of the day, like I said, I'm on day shifts. I'll show beautiful places of where I go. Thank God I'm here in Beit Shemesh. There's so many different forests and fields in the outskirts, Baruch Hashem, and even Beit Meir, where we shot the video, is also wow. Thank you, Rabbi Shlomo. I was aware, but I wasn't aware until I went. So many different places, and we have to understand, like, this is the way. This is just as much as Emunah was passed down to us, and many different other items and midos were passed down to us from the Avot. So was this crying out to Hashem. You could call it Hibodedut, you could call it personal prayer, you could call it tefillah, from the heart, whatever you want to call it. This was passed down to us. In fact, we learn from many different form that tell us of the reason why the Avot and other big tzaddikim in our past, and the righteous people of the Tanakh became shepherds, was in order so they can be, and he's both to say, in order so that they could be alone with Hashem, right? Mm-hmm. So we all have this inside of us, this yearning to go out and to be alone with Hashem. And the most beautiful part about it, specifically of what this video is highlighting, is doing this in the night, is when you go out really late at night, a person's ever been zocher to do this alone. I mean, a lot of people do it with friends. I know sometimes it can be tough. I'm not telling anybody to do anything that they're not very comfortable with, but I would say at least give it a try. You'll understand after the first few minutes of being scared of hearing bushes and whatever else you may hear in the middle of the night, you'll come to such a place of clarity that you have never experienced before in your life. Everything will become so clear to a person. His heart will open up, and he'll be able to speak things that he never knew was inside of him. It's specifically when he goes at that time. It's a ace ratzon to be there, especially during the time of chatzos in the middle of the night like that. A person does not understand the mila of what Reb Nachman's talking about. I think it's like some just asayavoda, their person to go and to experience what pours out of a person's heart when they go and do this. It's something beyond me. So I would second what Rabbi Shlomos says, that if a person was able to just hear this song and to hear the words and to be inspired to do it, it'd be the greatest gift and matana from Hashem in the world. So.
Wow. Well, I just want to say thank you to each of you for the inspiration, personally, for the inspiration. I mean, each one of you on your own is a powerhouse of soul, of spreading avodas Hashem and avas Hashem to the world, and together, oh my God, it's like, wow. Each of you is a powerhouse. The duo of you two and the song and your messaging is out of this world. So as a personal thank you.
The trio, Avi. Wait a minute, you're gonna come. I'm waiting to hear how tonight's gonna be for you. Tell me on Shabbos how tonight was in the forest. Right?
By the way, you should know, as an anecdote, since you went in that direction, my dream as a kid was to be a singer. Loved singing. Loved acting. Not just a singer, but an actor. Loved dancing on stage. But Kadosh Baruch Hu decided to do something with my voice. It's not as good as it used to be. So in the meantime, I'm enjoying all of you. I'm enjoying my kids. I'm enjoying my chelek. But it's always a pleasure. And again, any final message to people to leave with?
Nissim, I love you.
I love you too. We love all of Am Yisrael. You know, I think the main thing also too is that, you know, one big thing to if a person's going to take time out of time to daven about right now is a Havas Yisrael. This is a time where collectively we need this, and unfortunately sometimes we have to be woken up by the rest of the world to understand the importance and the chashivas of every single yid. And no matter where a person's background is, no matter how they daven, where they daven, who the rabbi is, and to respect all the gedolim and people that are put in position, the high places, and to love every single yid. I think right now Hashem has been screaming that to us one way or another, but that's one thing to really be mispalo for, and if everybody can do it, I think it would change and move mountains.
Amen. I guess just to sum it all up on that point, I'm a big believer God works in strange ways, and most of us are going with our days and we're connected to our devices. Some of us less connected than others, but the whole world we're disconnected, more disconnected from God than ever before, more disconnected from each other, more disconnected from ourselves. But where's the beauty? Where's the strange workings of God in all this? Well, it's because of this big disconnect that's growing with each day that more and more people are looking for the connection. More and more people are internalizing, oh my God, Shabbos, Shabbat, to disconnect, just be with myself, just be with my family, just connect with God. More people today have that understanding than ever before. So God works in strange ways. The bigger disconnect is bringing more and more people to understand and appreciate the connection that we have through HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the lifestyle that He gives us through the Torah and the mitzvot and everything. So, thank you. Thanks to both of you. And B'hatzlacha Rabbah, looking forward to many people screaming out in the forests tonight.
Amen. Amen. Love you, Avi. Thank you.
Shalom. Keep on spreading all the holiness. Both of you together and each of you on your own. Kol hakavod. Hatzlacha Rabbah. Everybody, thank you so much. Hope you really enjoyed this special program this morning with music superstars, Rabbi Shlomo Katz and Nissim Black, really filled with inspiration. I'll put the link up to be able to connect with the Rabbi Shlomo Katz project. This video is part of that, and it's a part of inspiring people and connecting people more with themselves through God. It should be a good day, a good Shabbat. It's Thursday. The Shabbat's almost upon us. So everyone, go with the inspiration. Hope this program inspired you. And again, if you are not yet subscribed to our program, The Pulse of Israel, please go to pulseofisrael.com and sign up for our new video newsletter to get true messages from a true indigenous Jew here living in our ancestral and eternal homeland, here the Judean hills of the land of Israel. Just go to pulseofisrael.com and subscribe. So signing off for another episode of The Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland, this is Avi Abelo. Thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.